is this all a long time coming? I mean, I remember myself being on stage in Dubai 5 years ago, and I briefly touched on e-commerce during a talk about digitisation, but it feels like not much has happened in those years since. But is it a slow burn for the industry, or is that a misconception?
Probably both, honestly. It always seems slow. It seems slow to us. We're very impatient, but it could just be a little bit of a late start in the industry. But what I will say is there's a lot of things going on that maybe the general industry doesn't know about. So, companies we work with, we're the data provider, but we work with companies like Computers Unlimited on the ERP side, who is definitely helping, doing a phenomenal job. Our friends at ES Tech Group that have the amazing e-commerce platform, and then us here trying to automate the exchange of product information. So I think one thing that we're seeing in this industry that we don't see and haven't seen in the six other industries that we're in is the distributors are working together. They're working together to accelerate, share best practices, sharing things that work, that don't work, and it's something we haven't seen. Typically it's one or two distributors working together, or everyone's competing. But this is very different industry where they're working together, they're sharing ideas, and so behind the scenes, distributors are having a lot of success. Some of the early adopters, just one example, we have a $20 million distributor, I think in the Midwest in the US, and they're on track to do 50% of their business online in the first year. That's huge. That other industries that we're in would be unbelievably jealous of that. So there there are things going on that you probably don't know about. We're trying to do our part in this educating the general industry, but also educating manufacturers of what their distributor channel is doing. So I think the fear that we see in other industries is if distributors don't go online, when do I, as a manufacturer, start to think about, especially on like hard goods ideas or products, when do I start thinking about going direct? And so I think we're trying to help alleviate that and give confidence that there is a movement happening. There are successes happening. There are companies that are absolutely killing it and going to be killing it. So it's been a little slow start, but there are great successes. There's a lot happening in digital and e-commerce in particular. So again, starting late, but I think maybe one other point too is that there might be an advantage of starting now or starting even a couple of years ago that some of them, the successful ones, are doing, is in one industry that we're in. I think they started about 8 or 10 years ago, kind of mass started, and the technology wasn't technologies. They just really weren't that great back then. There weren't very many options. There's kind of one option for e-commerce, one option for data, one option for ERP that most people used. Well, now what's happening is there's all these options, all these great technology companies moving from other industries, retail, and now everyone's changing what they were doing 8 to 10 years ago, and it's costing them millions. So now's a good time. There's great options, great technology. There's not just one or two options that there were years ago. So it really may pay off the wait that they actually did go through. So a lot of things going on. So I think it's going to be very, very successful, and we're starting to see some distributors and manufacturers really, really buy in.